What's a modern-day snake oil item people continue to buy? Not an item as such, but going to see a chiropractor. Chiropractors are at best feel-good placebo and at worst, injury-inducing quacks. If your bones are out of alignment, it's because you got in an accident and popping it is the least of your concerns. They do not fix anything. A doctor can fix things. A physical therapist can fix things. A chiropractor may give you good advice and then pop your back. If you want that relief, get a massage session instead. It will arguably do more good for you. A lot of folks are responding with anecdotal stories that sort of just further my point about placebo. You think it did something beneficial, which removes any psychological barriers to pain relief. Or you think it did something beneficial and that thought combined with the body's natural ability to heal stopped the pain. There's a lot of instances of pain that are caused by inflammation pinching a nerve. A chiropractor cracking or popping you will not reduce inflammation. If there's rubbing or massaging, that might help, but not really. Time and anti-inflammatories will reduce inflammation. So your sciatica hurts for a week despite taking a ton of Advil. You go see a chiropractor. He does some twists, some pulls, bang, bang, bam, and you feel better. The next day, your pain is gone. So what happened? You have been taking medications for a week that have been helping whether you know it or not. Your body has had a week to heal. This was likely the first time you actually had the chance to relax. The rubbing and twisting may have actually helped with the flow. It just felt good, and that sense of feeling good let you sleep better. Better sleep led to better health outcomes. It may have also reduced stress. Stress causes a lot of All that combined has led to the inflammation reducing and poof, no more pain. The feel-good thing is fine, but chiropractors are not feel-good specialists. They're joint manipulation solves-all-problems specialists. So when your sciatica issue turns out to be some other significant issue that gets overlooked because you only ever went to see a duck quack, now you're in a situation that a chiropractor can't fix, I'm not even saying don't go see one. You live your life, whatever. Just that chiros do not actually treat anything. They at most alleviate. If you're having a serious medical condition or pain, you should go see a legitimate doctor. If it is something more than mild joint or muscle pain, you should be referred to a legitimate specialist doctor. If you're going to a run-of-the-mill family medicine doctor who gives you antibiotics for every sniffle, find a different doctor. So, chiro is a mixed bag of nuts. The problem is that the training is spotty at best and there's no real medical license going on. Does it work? Sure, sometimes, for certain people with certain conditions. Who are those people? No idea. The others get bodgy bones cracking that does more harm than good. One chiro in town could actually be highly trained in physiology and actually have a clue what he's up to. The chiro in the room next to him could be a crystal healer working her essential oil magic and good vibes to cure all that ails you. It's just wild that they class as medicine. Story 2. Those detox patches you put on your feet. Supposedly they suck the bad stuff out of your body and the proof is that they turn black. When actually all that happens is that your sweat makes the stuff in the patches turn black when it gets wet. My wife bought us some and they told her I thought they were snake oil. I gave them a shot and they do make your feet feel good after you sleep with them on. Hard to explain, but your feet kind of feel refreshed when you take them off in the morning. I know it probably doesn't do and maybe it's just placebo, but it feels like it does something. The placebo effect is strong and is how we show efficacy for medication. If the medication triggers a statistically significant change above what a placebo does, it's proven effective. Because placebo can cause physical changes in our body. Wild. If you actually want to test this out, just put water on them. Story 3. I got flagged down at a gas station previously by a guy who wanted to sell me an air purifier, which he said would ionize the air, and he also claimed it had a strong UV light that would obliterate microorganisms, all in a very small-sized 12V cigarette plug thingy. I mean, some of it made sense, such as UV lights at a certain frequency obliterating microorganisms pretty effectively if used on an industrial scale. But the rest was pure BS. I took a quick look at it. It had a see-through plastic top and there was a small blue LED diode under it, apparently the UV light. That was for sure nothing more than an extremely cheap blue LED. Or the purifier and ionizer was not clear or obvious, but considering it had zero holers or air intake or exhaust, it was less than 2.5 centimeters wide and less than 5 centimeters tall in total. I was sure it was BS. But I bet that jerk managed to sell some, though. I guess it's a tiny bit ironic that selling the fake is better for your health than the real thing. I'm honestly shocked that I didn't hear about people trying to replace their bulbs with a UV before. On another note, my grandmother got a legit ionizer or air filtration system from Friedrich over 20 years ago. Size of a mini fridge. You could smell the ozone in a closed room after a couple of hours. Getting replacement filters got increasingly difficult, and they stopped selling the units. I guess because of how harmful ozone can be, but once in a while she'd use it in an empty room with a fan and air it out afterwards. It does get rid of all dust mites and pollen quite effectively. Too bad about it being carcinogenic and all. Ozone also attacks a whole bunch of chemicals pretty hard. Rubber, ink, paint, dyes, plastic, leather, all the conditioners and real leather that keep it in good condition. Wood varnish. My friend's mom got an ozone generator and left it running in her bedroom, and they went on vacation for several weeks. When they came back, her bedroom was in shambles. Furniture and the TV fell apart. The worst thing was a box of mementos, with old family pictures and letters. It just straight erased some of the photos and letters, turning them into blank paper. So yeah, in my opinion, selling a counterfeit safety product should be treated as a criminal offense, not just a civil one, because the consumer is relying on that product to protect them from danger. It causes the user to take risks they would otherwise not take and put themselves in danger. Damages could reveal themselves years later. Story 4. Anything from Amway. They say it's the business. Drink super oxygenated water? Huh? My dad was an OG Amway guy back in the 90s. Believed in that crap through and through. He was convinced he was going to go diamond and be rich. He literally incorporated that crap into his actual religion. So instead of buying my brothers and I clothes or shoes or proper meals, he bought a ton of their products for the house and himself. A metric ton of their religious self-help tapes he never listened to and would stay out all night contacting, aka going to the local mall to solicit Amway to unsuspecting passersby. MLMs in the days before social media took actual effort to neglect your kids. When the structure was explained to me, I was maybe 10 or so, I said that it sounded sketchy and couldn't understand how getting people to join made you money. Yes, about the tapes and incorporating it into religion. It seemed like everything in our lives revolved around religious BS through Amway. The very worst was the convincing that there were no more grocery shopping to be made because we were more or less obligated to order food directly from Amway. Excuse me, what? I think my siblings and I complained enough about the off-brand of off-brand cereal that regular cereal returned. We still laugh about the brand names. D15, insect repellent, SA8, laundry detergent, LOC, dish soap. It's a scam in plain sight. There are huge swaths of this country with people desperate for any lifeline out of their desperate financial situations. If all of your neighbors are participating in similar things, how can it be a scam? It's very easy to fall to this stuff. It's designed to prey on people in the exact situation, and they know how to manipulate human psychology to get vulnerable people to sign up. The eye-opening part for me was the size of these companies and how many actual people are screwed over by them. Also how these large MLMs and other scam companies make friends with politicians and can avoid being shut down for being literal pyramid schemes by offering a vague product line or service instead of being purely based on recruiting, which would make them illegal pyramid schemes. Story 5. To mention a few, number 1, anything sold by Gwyneth Paltrow. Good lord. With Paltrow, her promoting these things wouldn't even surprise me. She's turned herself into the national crazy aunt Barb who every 5 minutes starts talking about absolute nonsense and insisting that her homeopathic doctor has the cure for every ailment you never knew you had. Number 2, water alkalizing machines, Kangen and the like. I knew something who drank alkaline water and swore by how much better it was for him. He put lemon juice in it to make it taste better. Then a nutritionist came to talk to my sorority about an alkaline diet. She gave us a paper with lists of alkaline foods, good, and acidic foods, bad. You may be surprised to learn that lemons were on the alkaline list. We sure were. Someone immediately pointed out that a bunch of things on the alkaline list had acidic pHs that insisted that those things were actually basic because they're so acidic they have a basic effect on your body. It's all a totally made-up BS. We never had nutritionists come talk to us again. Number 3, balance of nature supplements. Supplements aren't regulated by the Food and Drug Agency. This means that legally, they aren't held to the standards of food or medicine. This means that you can make all kinds of claims about them, but there's no government agency that's going to take you to task about their actual effects, as long as you're careful to state their effects, in language that does not legally constitute false advertising. This, accordingly, makes these already dubious products a favorite for grifters like Alex Jones to hawk the rubes. That last one, not that everyone and anyone would benefit from them. However, some people do need them. If you want to buy and take them, always do your independent research first. Oh, and since you're already halfway through the video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel so you wouldn't miss out on any of my upcoming videos. Now let's get back to it. Story 6. Copper bracelets. My grandma was crippled by rheumatoid arthritis from her early 20s, lived well until her 80s, and spent nearly 3/4 of her life in excruciating pain. After she passed, we were going through her things and found a pair of copper bracelets from the 30s or 40s. Obviously, they didn't work. They were beautifully stamped and absolutely gorgeous. If anyone is experiencing the same condition, I suggest not accepting the pain. Go to all hospital appointments, you'll get better care. Seriously. As well as help advocate, yeah, she's always in pain, crying, can't do stuff, etc. These meds aren't doing the job. Where do we go from here? What's next? Is there something better? If you're not in biologic, it sounds like you should be. As a class of medicine, they've been a real game changer in the treatment of autoimmune illnesses, in many cases completely halting disease progression. The older meds like azathioprine, methotrexate even, just don't compare. And NSAIDs, even new ones like celecoxib, don't do much IME. If you're in a biologic like Humira biosimilar, infliximab, etc., it sounds like she needs to change. There are loads of others now and more in the pipeline, as well as new classes like JAK inhibitors, which I know very little about. Y'all remember those power balance bracelets? No? Just me? Okay. Story 7. Oscillococcinum. It's a sugar pill sold as a flu remedy for an insane profit that does nothing that a placebo wouldn't do. It supposedly contains extremely diluted extract of Muscovy duck heart and liver as the active ingredient that fights the flu. They're diluted to 200C, a ratio of 1 part duck offal to 10 to the power of 400 parts water. For every molecule of duck offal, there is 10 with 4,000 zeros behind it molecules of water. So if you ever buy this stuff in flu season, save yourself some money and just take a teaspoon of sugar instead. Oh, and the pharmacy sell it on the shelf next to the actual medications, with the expectation that customers will mistake it for medicine. How is that not fraud? Also, any homeopathic remedy is complete BS. Homeopathy believes the remedy gets stronger the more dilute it is, because water has memory. Even if the active ingredient was effective, they're not. Any homeopathic dilution above 16 times makes it mathematically impossible for even a single atom of the active ingredient to remain. Story 8. All of the OTC memory boosters like Prevagen, Nuriva, and Focus Factor, they do nothing. In some cases actually cause gastric upset, which may lead to dehydration and/or electrolyte imbalance, which will definitely affect cognitive functioning negatively. They're snake oil because they were all invented to take advantage of the lack of understanding the average person has about nootropics and the entire nootropic movement. Purchasers of these OTC fake nootropics might as well be flushing their money down the toilet. It's an industry entirely founded on taking advantage of people's ignorance and hope. They don't even work as a kind of nutritional or supplemental insurance to help reduce the probability of developing dementia. They literally do nothing whatsoever, other than a possible placebo effect. And people would be better off taking a daily multivitamin, attending to their gut health, and staying highly active cognitively if they want some proactive measures against cognitive decline. If you're having cognitive or memory issues enough that you're thinking about buying a bottle of something like Prevagen, Nuriva, or Focus Factor, you'd be wise to instead discuss your concerns with your physician and/or arrange for actual testing by a neurologist. The drugs that are effective against different types of cognitive decline or dementia are available by prescription only, and the sooner you get on them, the better. They're not sold over the counter in any form. This is not a case of there existing a lower than prescription dosage that you can purchase yourself. The hucksters who hawk these BS supplements should be ashamed of themselves. Yeah, I'm looking at you, Mayim Bialik. Actual neuroscientists don't peddle BS pills or any pills on TV. On the other hand, there are nootropics that most definitely have some effects and can help general brain function, but you will never find these OTC, and most of the benefits are either extremely mild or temporary. You should also do a lot of research when looking into the topic because some nootropics' mode of action can be habit-forming. It's not something to go playing with willy-nilly. If you're interested, go find any nootropic subreddit and read about people's stacks, the combination of supplements they're taking, and use any search engine other than Google to look up the supplement. Do not, and I repeat, do not trust any blog site or site that directly sells nootropics to give you good info. If they link to a store, take the advice with a grain of salt. The best thing you can do is read the mode of action on the wiki page and look up what all those big words mean in relation to your brain and health. One last note. No nootropic will cure cancer or reverse dementia. Please don't let the snakes bite when you or a loved one are in a desperate situation. It will only make things worse. Yeah, what he said. Story 9. Antivirus programs. Guys, wake up. Windows Defender exists, is really good, free and pre-installed starting at, I think, Windows 8 or 7. WinDef also leaves you alone. Almost every other program bombards you with pop-ups and information about how they're so great and they would be even better if you send them another $100 to upgrade. Unless you're in a corporate environment and you need the extra features of some antivirus programs, the best antivirus program around is Windows Defender. It's free and unobtrusive. Also install an ad blocker and learn about common scams and virus spreading techniques. I used to work in computer repair and we would show people how to install an ad blocker. The amount of reopened tickets for virus removal dropped drastically after I started showing this to people, so we made it standard practice when people brought in virus-filled computers. Ads have a lot to do with it. Most websites show ads that are hardly distinguishable from actual content,
And these ads could be anything and everything, and take you to any website they so desire. The worst offenders are clickbait ads that appear on local news sites just below the article. People are going to click on 25 celebrity facts you didn't know, and get redirected through 50 tracking pages and one page that asks you to install a virus and set your homepage to Free Search Pro. That does nothing but insert more ads into a Google search because they just click accept over and over again trying to get to some piece of promised subpar content. Story 10. Skincare creams that you see advertised by young models who have perfect skin. Dermatologists keep posting on the skincare subs basically saying most of this stuff is worthless, overpriced water. Almost none of it does anything, including the items listed. The important thing you can do that actually makes a difference are staying hydrated, using sunscreen your entire life, and not smoking. Beyond that, there are prescription retinoids and laser treatments only available at a doctor's office. The rest is just good marketing, which is a little depressing and a little encouraging, depending on how I feel that day. To be honest, they do make a huge difference, especially if you're regimented and do it daily. The trick is, you don't need the $500 a bottle crap. Just basic moisturizing daily does wonders, especially if you start young. I think the key is to use a moisturizer with sunscreen in it every day, or just use sunscreen. Unfortunately, advertisers have mastered the art of advertising, as well as human psychology. So, yeah. Story 11. I guess not directly snake oil as they do work, but I never got people who buy branded medication over generic medication because they think it's more effective, like Advil or Nurofen over generic ibuprofen. There are a few, very few, medications where brand versus generic does make a difference. Thyroid medication is a good example. This is actually not my experience. There are a lot of cases where there's no difference between generic and branded, but there are also cases where there are major differences. I had to buy branded medication from my mother on more than one occasion because the generic, same substance, same dose, either had side effects that the brand one didn't have or the effect was a lot more diminished for the generic versus the brand. Before giving up on a substance to treat a particular disease, it pays to try the one by the original manufacturer. The other consideration is, do they actually put all the active substances in the pill? I'm from Eastern Europe, and my mother had colleagues who worked in the pharmaceutical industry who told her that whenever they were running low on active substance stocks, they would just replace a part of it with talcum powder. And I heard the exact same thing from the other people connected to the industry. So quality control is a big issue for some companies, and this doesn't happen just with local pharmaceutical companies in Eastern Europe. Ranbaxy was fined in the US by the FDA some years ago for badly made generics. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you made it this far, I'm sure you'll also enjoy what budget purchase ended up being your best buy ever story. Story 2 is surprising. See you in that video.